Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of the tips that I've come across that have made it a little bit easier for me to care for my plants in the colder seasons. This is only going to be my second year going into having houseplants for the full winter season. I've had them before that, but I wasn't caring for them the way that I do now. And I have a living garland in my sitting area at my plant window, and so keeping my pothos happy during the winter time is like really important to me because it is part of my decor. So this right here is a jade pothos, and she sits here. This is a south facing window right over here. This entire wall is pretty much a window, so it gets a lot of bright light. You see the leaves are very big. Some of them are a little bit bleached because it does get a lot of sun, but it's doing okay, and so I leave it here. And then up and across here I have, well, let's see if I can see over here. Over here I have a marble queen and another golden pothos that create the other end of my living garland, and I connect them at the top. I did get a request to share how I created this living garland, and I will do a video on that. Today I cannot do that though because I just watered these and I don't want to stress them out when I went a little bit further than I should have with these plants. Which brings me into the first part of keeping up with these when it is winter time. I do not allow them to go too far in between without being watered. And I know that the rule of thumb is wait until they start to wilt a little bit or droop a little bit in order for you to know it's time for you to water your plants. But I don't find that that works for my plants, because if I let them go too far in the winter time, it almost pushes them into slowing down their growth because they don't know if they should continue to put the energy into new leaves or just, thriving at that time, or just waiting until the spring and summer. That's what I believe the reason is for that. And so when I water I test the pots, because before the leaves need to be watered, the pot will be light. So just because my pot is light doesn't mean that I water it at that point. I usually feel the leaves, like this one right here, and I didn't water him for a reason. This one needs to be watered. Right now, I know that it needs to be watered, not because I have any drooping. It is not drooping as much as the leaves simply feel soft. They don't feel droopy, but they feel soft. Normally, when this plant does not want water at all, it's completely content. It just feels very firm. You want to get familiar with your plant so that you know exactly when it needs to be watered. Because like I said, it's not necessarily just because the soil is dry. The plant itself has to be calling for water, but I like to give it water before it starts to droop because I do not want it to go into a dormancy. And I do find that in the summertime, if they start to droop, it's not that big of a deal because it's so warm. But in the winter time, that's different because I don't want it to just feel that it shouldn't put energy into its growth. And this one is an extremely long plant that I keep trimmed, which goes to the next point. I keep these plants trimmed because I want the growth to be consistent, and I want it to always feel that there's room for growth, and I'm always reactivating nodes on the plant. And this is sitting on a shelf, and there's a certain level on the shelf, one of the shelves itself, that I keep it cut to because that's where the next plant on the floor starts. And so that's the limit that it can go to. So this plant is very long, but you'll see at the bottom here, the leaves are still a really nice size. And that happens when you continue to trim the plant, prune it back, and if you want to fill it in at the top. This one is really full at the top, so I don't need to put any more of the propagations at the top. But sometimes I will just put it into a separate pot, or I will share them with someone else. But again, keeping them in good light where they're not getting scorched, but at the same time they get full light so that they think they're still in summertime, and then watering them before they start to be like droopy and passing out. I always say I have 4 plants that are like complete drama queens, where they just like pass out flat if you do anything wrong with their watering. And I try not to let my pothos get like that, because it takes a lot for them to do that. So that is really sapping a lot of their energy. And so they are going to protect themselves and they will go dormant. So that's another thing that I find that works out great. Now, and then the last one was just making sure I trim them. And just to show you how the trim really affects these, let's see if I can find a good example. Oh, here's one. This really needs to be detangled, but I can't detangle it until I water it because I don't want to put any stress on it now that it needs to be watered. And this is something I would not wait another day before I watered this because it really feels soft. Okay, so I'm going to show you on this plant exactly what trimming and pruning does. This right here was the first time that I pruned it right in this spot here. And so this grew out from that spot. The last time I trimmed was maybe about 2 weeks ago. This right here was where I trimmed it, and you see right here, you already have a growth point coming out. So the next time I trim this, I'll actually remove this and go a little bit higher just so that I don't have too many things coming off right there, because then that will make the bottom a little bit heavier than I want it to be. But when you prune it and you continue to prune it, you just get a bushier and bushier plant because you get all of these growth points that keep coming in. And of course, if you want to make the growth point, make it bushier up here, you have to chop it a little bit closer to the top so that you get more of a bush up here. But I had already done that here, so I have a lot of growth points up here as well, because in the beginning, that's where I started pruning it and making sure that it was nice and full. So this one is a really, really, really beautiful example of really just keeping up with the trimming, the watering, and just allowing it to feel comfortable and secure. I know that sounds really weird because it's a plant, but the reality is if it feels that it needs to take care of itself and go dormant to protect its foliage or to protect it from completely dying off, it will do that in order to protect itself. So there you have it. Those are the best things that I can think of that I do to help my plants just to do well in the colder months. And I will say, I do not have a humidifier that works. I mean, I have one sitting here, but it's actually just really cute. My sons were going to get rid of it from their room because it wasn't working. And so I kept it here because I thought it looked really cute. But I don't have a humidifier. I do not have grow lights. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't have a moisture meter either. I'm just raw. So I don't know. It's not that I'm against any of those things. I simply don't have them. I love my plants. I watch them, but I don't have any of those things that help as far as the humidity in my home. It's just whatever we have. The temperature in my home is probably about 73 degrees. And I make sure that I don't have them too close on the window. Although these right here on this side are close to the window, they are not really touching the window because the window gets cool. And so they're pushed back. And again, this is probably too much sun for this jade pothos, but it's okay. It has adjusted. And I think after I burned it last summer out in my fancy new toy of a greenhouse, it was just happy to be out of there so it didn't turn into spinach salad. So this is where it lives, and it has been here for quite some time. Normally it doesn't face this direction. It normally faces the window, but I turned it just so that you can get full impact on exactly what it looks like. And I'm going to show you another plant that I have that I apply the same rules to, and it is doing really well. Here is my Cebu Blue, and she is doing really well. She needs a trim, but I haven't trimmed her yet. My son actually watered her for me yesterday. I completely forgot about it, and then when he was going upstairs, I asked him to water it, and he did, and I'm so happy because she would be stressed out today if he didn't water her for me. But she is very full all the way down to the bottom, but you see that at the bottom you have some stragglies. Let me see. There's one that I was obviously missing with my trims, and there is just a really long straggly piece. Where are you? I feel as if I need to take an entire day and detangle all of the vines on my plants. Here she is, hidden again. Okay, so here is a straggly strand, and you can see the leaves are still pretty big at the bottom, but it is so straggly and it looks so different. So for me to trim this plant to make it nice and bushy and to continue with the growth pattern that it's having now, I would cut this plant right here, right there. But the reason why I haven't snipped that off is because I'm not really sure what to do with the trails once I'm done with it. And so I like to know exactly where I should put the trails before I cut them, because I mean, we work so hard to get these plants to be happy and healthy that we just don't want to, you know, just do nothing with them. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Anyway, she is doing really well, and this was a wish list plant for me, and I was able to get it again at Big Y. That seems to be the place that I get just about everything, but not really. This one came from Home Depot. So anyway, this is something that I'm really proud of, because when I got her, she was in, I believe, a 6-inch basket, and now she is in this nice big basket. And the top of her is nice and full. She balded for a little while because I didn't have her tipped. She is in the very same place as this Jade Pothos, but she's down below and just about 6 to 7 inches further back. But I didn't have her tipped. I had her flat on the surface like that. And so the back side of her over here balded. And so that's what I knew. I needed to clip the bottom and put them up top, and that's what I did. And now she's nice and full at the top as well. And so now I just have a rock sitting under the back of her, and so she leans forward this way, and so she's nice and full on the top, facing the window. And I absolutely love this plant. She is so beautiful. I actually saw one of these in Lowe's today, and it was on the clearance rack. I had to do everything in my power not to buy that plant. It was in a hanging basket, and the leaves are so big. And I guess it was droopy, and so they put it on the clearance rack. It was so beautiful. I was proud of myself that I didn't buy it though, but I already have my Cebu Blue, so I didn't get it. Just FYI, if you're looking for one, they do have some at Lowe's. Those are all the tips that I have for you today. I hope this was helpful to someone out there. If you have any more questions about my pothos and my plant care for the wintertime, I will help you in any way that I possibly can. But again, I don't have any fancy tools for them, as much as I just try to make sure that they do not feel that they have to take over and they're not going to be provided for as far as water and lighting. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate your time, this time that you spend with me here. And I also thank all of my new subscribers. It's really, really nice that you've taken the time to subscribe and like my videos. I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.